So I was recently inspired by the BattleTech Legends book, and this came from someone from Discord, which I'm very thankful. And I am going to be looking at this pilot indeed today. And this is Liao Danai, and she pilots a Black Knight. I love this thing. So let's get cranking at it. So after the base of medium blue of this model, I mix that blue with some violet, and I just take the sponge and I'm trying to get inside of the crevices. So I'm just kind of like a pre-shade, but in a more simple, quick way. And this is a really easy way to pre-shade. Instead of doing washes, just taking that base layer and then mixing a new color, like a shade color, into it. Now I'm mixing turquoise with a medium blue, and I'm going to start sponging on the highlights. And this is kind of the first set of highlights, so cranking at it, covering as much as I can. I'm now mixing more of the turquoise into it. And I have to apologize, I just got hit with a sickness, and I hope my voice doesn't sound too rough. I want to get this video out today, so hopefully it's not too bad. In my earlier lighting, so I'm going back to my old lighting setup here. Now I'm going straight with the turquoise, and like previously, I'm taking more of the paint off, but I know I'm going to go brighter. So this is still a bit of a pre-highlight, and there's more coming. Now, the Black Knight wasn't her first mech. She actually piloted the Yen Lo Wang, which is that famous Centurion, which is also another legendary mech, which has that kind of like sunburst of the red star coming out, which is a mech I want to paint next. Now I'm going to do a brown wash with the AK Interactive, and I mix white spirits into it. I'm not putting it all over the entire model, but just trying to get decently in the recesses. And to be honest, it looks like I'm putting it all over the model, but I'm going to clean up with white spirits. What I love about this mech, its name is Julian. That's so cool. And it is not the base Black Knight. This Black Knight was newer, has 22 double heat sinks, doesn't have as bad as overheating as other Black Knights, and it has some pretty cool clan mech. Like, the weapons are really powerful on this thing. And with this turquoise, I'm trying just to cover up a lot of the kind of the brown that got too dark, but now I have a bit of a dark recesses, which I'm able to now build up from. Next, I'm going to add some Green Stuff World Mint Twister to the mix. Now we're getting at the bright highlights, and I'm wanting to be careful, but also I'm really wanting to start pushing this because the reference image from the book shows it more of a brighter turquoise compared to the normal color schemes that you'll see shown now on the screen. So again, if you were doing the standard color scheme, keep this part out, but I'm pushing it because I saw the reference material like this. And as you notice, I'm hitting the mint twister just on like the head, the hands, the top of the chest plate, the knees, and the feet. I really want to push that object source lighting kind of idea and give the depth of the shading from where the sun is hitting and it's casting the shadows on the mech. Okay, this is our result. A lot of shaky cam there, but let's start doing details. There's a lot more to go. Next, I'm going to use Averland Sunset from Citadel, and if you notice from the reference image, the yellow is not panels, it's lines. So I am doing it in my standard method where I do a thin test line, then I come back with the same stroke in the same area and go a little bit darker. I do this every single time because I'm afraid of messing up the line, but it also gives me a bit of a tracing point. I've always done this if I write letters or if I do lines on anything on my painted miniatures. I always do a test line and then I go back. It helps. So I'm really just following the image here. I am looking at the reference image and I'm copying exactly what I see. And I keep doing these swiggly lines at the end of each line, and I had to come back with the highlight color and just touch it up. I'll be honest, this isn't as hard as it seems. I was a bit intimidated when I was starting this, and really it was fun, and it took me less than 15 minutes to get all these lines done. I had a nice podcast playing and just relaxing and painting them. So don't be afraid of lines. Practice, and they're quite simple once you kind of get that rhythm of the brush. And as I'm painting these lines, one last bit of lore. So she who pilots this mech deals with PTSD, but she channels that into like this resilience to excel. So even though she might struggle with things, she's able to push herself, kind of like bury herself into piloting and what she does. Next, I'm going to add ice yellow, and I'm going to attempt to highlight these things, but really it's just minimal. I'm hitting the points that the light would hit those lines. So it seems crazy all the time working on those yellow lines. Now time to highlight. And I decided at this point to go back to the Averland Sunset to bust out my Chinese character skills. I lived in China for like 7 years of my life, and I had to learn Chinese characters and sitting in class. And yeah, I'm trying to do it, but it's a challenge. But really, again, I'm doing the same technique with this handwriting. Is just first small line, then a big line, and then trying to cover it up if there's mistakes. And there will be a mistake. I do make a mistake here and I have to cover it up afterwards. And if you're wondering what this Chinese character is, it's R Shi, which means 27. So it looks cool, but it's just the number 27. Now I'm going to mix the mint twister with the turquoise and start working on the edge highlights. This is the first highlight, and I'm just trying to hit some of those main top corners of the panels, and then I'll come back later with just straight mint twister for the final edge highlights. And if you've watched my videos before, I am a minimalistic highlighter. I like to hit just some edges from the top mostly of the mech, but I will hit bottom ones, but I never highlight the shaded or like the areas that have a darker tone, because it often kind of stands out too bad and it doesn't look realistic. Now it's time for that mint twister, and I didn't realize I was going to use mint twister for this, but it kind of worked perfect. I was using this for highlighting when I used a jade color, but it works quite well with turquoise. And I think that the Citadel equivalent to this is Gauze Blaster, if I'm correct. And I'm just, again, using a bit of the side of the brush to help me and letting the brush do the work when I'm doing this. And I only use the tip of the brush for edge highlights only when necessary. And when I do, I kind of like want to brace my hand on the miniature. Now I'm using this molten bronze from P3. You can probably find any really dark bronze. Granted, I'm almost out of P3 paints, and this is my last one you haven't seen me use, but really any bronze. And I don't know from the true images if this unit is using bronze, but from the reference image from the legendary book, it looks like bronze. Now I am going to use this flesh shade to wash all of the bronze because I want to give it not that dark brown wash look, but I'll give it a little bit of like color to the bronze. So for highlighting, I decided to try the sponge on this. I mixed the bronze with the silver from Model Color, and I'm building up a little bit from the top. Mainly, I'm doing this because the reference image showed silver on top, so I'm kind of trying to mimic it, and I'm really happy with the results. So and then I'm hitting just a straight silver on top to make even more of that contrast. So the bronze is showing underneath while I'm able to kind of put the silver on top. I'm going to keep trying more of this, and I might want to try a full-on silver mech using this method, so we'll see moving forward, but this is really fun. Now for the old rust, I'm just putting small areas of it, and I'm trying to kind of like blend it out because it does have white spirits already mixed into it. So I first tried that technique, then I came in and just kind of put little sections with the rust, and when I come back to clean it, I give it a little bit of a wipe going in certain directions where I want it to go. I really need to practice using this stuff more. I'm only doing this because I saw in the reference image from the artwork that had this brown rusty spots. Next, I am going to put black in the joints here, and I am choosing not to highlight it because, well, the easy answer is the reference material, blah, 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 blah. But I just feel like it's not getting casted by the light at all from the sun. So I feel like it would be dark 'cause in the shadow area. So something to think about when always highlighting. We don't have to highlight every single part of our models because the shadow is hitting it from the sun. Now I'm going to use this trio from Army Color Fanatic paints, and it's the same technique I've done before, but I'm using the darker red, covering a majority of the lens, then coming with a mix of that darker red with pure red and trying to build up going downwards. These lens areas are very small, and typically I've used fluorescent paints. I'm not using fluorescent paint here. I'm just trying to copy the reference image again, but using red, and I don't have red fluorescence, so I'm just doing the best I can with the small lenses that I have. And with that, I'm going to put a varnish on, and this is the final result after the base was done, of course. So this was a great project, and I wish I wasn't sick, so I apologize for the kind of the bad sounding voice, but I'm really excited, very stoked how this looks. Again, thank you so much for watching, and this coming week, I took a request and someone shared Comstar. So the next legendary pilot is a Comstar pilot piloting an Atlas. So I will see you guys next week. Have a great day.